Welcome to These Are My Friends. These are my friends, Daniel Dan.
What up, D? How's it going? We got my cousin Brad coming in on this one.
Bradley Brad.
Yeah,
of course.
He's been keeping up on the UAP hearings that have been going on, the congressional hearing.
Which is not a urinary tract infection, as I learned.
No, the UAP is in fact an unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Which was priorly known as
UFOs.
Yeah, so we go into the whole congressional depiction of
the congressional hearing that went down
declassifying
with
some
Grusch. Yeah. So we're not going to delay too long with the big long intro or anything.
You just got to listen to it. It's really cool.
This is a real cooker, and it goes on for a little while. So stick with us. A lot of really cool information coming at you for this one. This is big. This is, humanity's looking at whether or not we're alone in the universe. So think about that for a sec.
Open your mind, people.
Get ready for this. These are my friends.
Welcome to These Are My Friends.
What?
These are my friends.
Wait, what did you say?
Welcome to These Are My Friends. These are my friends.
Okay. Thought that's what you said.
Nothing compares to you, Dan and Brad. Nothing compares to you.
Oh, wow.
Thanks for the afterthought.
Thank you. Yeah, you're in comparison.
Rest in peace, Sinead O'Connor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
That was my little homage to her. 56. 56.
Damn, that's sad, man. That's too young.
That's young.
Yeah.
Absolutely too young.
Anyways, this is not a downer podcast. So what do we got on tap today?
Hey, let people mourn. Give them time.
That was barely a moment of silence.
Give them 2 seconds. All right.
Okay, that was enough. That's enough time.
So we have our friend Brad today, and our menacing cat.
It's time for the cat to ruin the podcast again.
Makes sense.
It was a really good TikTok
Crowley.
though. So
Good.
You know what I mean? Like it got some attraction.
You're famous. Yeah, just keep fucking up our podcast.
Yeah, thousands of dollars a year.
Okay, bye.
Even when you're not trying to put cat videos on the internet.
Cat videos find you.
Pops up. Like, okay, I could run with that. I could work with that. So we got our friend Bradley here. Bradley Brad and Daniel Dan. How we doing?
Doing good, bud. How you doing?
We missed last week because I was at a camping trip, so fantastic.
Nice
camping,
one.
get some rain.
I also went on a camping trip. We also did.
Yeah, we were all camping.
We were all camping, so.
Brad is my cousin, so we were actually at our family reunion out there.
Good fiddle at your family reunion?
Yeah, dude, it was good.
Yeah? What did you eat? Potato salad?
Hot dogs and hamburgers like crazy.
Yeah,
just basically lots of beef
had
burgers.
a couple drinks.
Life's good. Fuck.
Yeah.
Swim in the lake? Pool toys?
Out on the at the cabin on the shore on the ocean. It was beautiful.
I'm jealous.
Where'd you go?
I went to a place called Nanaimo. Has Taco Bell. We don't have Taco Bell on the island here, so I was pretty stoked about that. Didn't go.
What the hell are you talking about?
Taco Bell.
You said they have Taco Bell. We don't have it on the island here, but you're in a place called Nanaimo, which is on the island.
Nanaimo is on the island. Sorry.
What are you talking about?
So Nanaimo is a place far away from Victoria.
Yes,
okay.
So you can't get here, even though it is absolutely on the island.
Nanaimo is on the island, but Victoria Saanich is not. Crowley. And anyways, it was Nanaimo Lake. Nanaimo Lake was super dope.
Nice.
Yeah, secluded little spot. Did some swimming. Did some eating hot dogs.
They're their little Alistair.
Did you know that's what I had to look up what glizzy was, and it's a hot dog.
Yeah.
Not what you'd expect.
It sounds like a gat, kind of.
I don't know,
Like
man. Sounds like a sex
don't
thing.
Make me
I don't
whip
know.
my glizzy out on you.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, nobody wants to see that.
Anyway, so that
It's
was
not a dry
good times.
No, it's a glottal word.
What do we have for? Oh my God, Crowley!
Oh yeah.
Did you just delete the whole podcast?
Definitely paused it.
Yeah.
You may have to lock that one somewhere else.
Yeah, Crowley.
Okay, we're back to recording there. The cat stopped the recording. She knows what's good for us better than we do and just wants us to shut the hell up. But
Just wants a little more editing. later.
yeah,
That's all.
just think about what you say before you say it.
That's the post-production person unit right there. Just
Fair.
one big foul.
That's why they get paid.
Yeah, it's true.
$5. All right. So
$5.
what do we have on tap today? We're talking about aliens, I think. Is that what we're doing? Talking about some aliens?
We're not officially, but yeah.
I'd like to coach it as non-human intelligence, but yeah.
Non-human intelligence. I like that. Human NH.
NHI.
Almost the National Hockey League.
Not my
Off by a letter.
Yeah, well, at least talk about that. I mean, there was a hearing yesterday morning.
Yeah, it's
think.
recent.
God,
In
I was
July.
up like 24 hours straight or something.
Oh,
like
really?
3 hours sleep because I got
waiting.
up at 7 to watch it.
Oh.
So only time I've ever been excited for a congressional hearing.
Nice.
So it's a hearing about aliens.
Yeah, well,
Start from the
non-human
beginning because Dylan wasn't really up on any of it. So
I have no idea what it is. So this is led by you guys today.
I'll start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Just to get you an idea of it. So it was it was this investigative journalist Leslie Keane and Blumenthal, I think is the other guy's name, from the New York Times, and they put a story out in 2017 about a couple unidentified aerial phenomena videos, UAP. That's the new UFO word.
UAP.
You've probably seen them, like the gimbal or the Go Fast video. They're like have been floating around. They're like FLIR videos.
Like the black and white
shit?
shit?
Yeah, the black and white.
Yeah.
It's like tracking
And it just goes like,
moving
whoa,
objects.
what was that? Yeah.
Yeah. There's a whole fleet of them or whatever.
And they just
one
like
of the guys.
disperse. Yeah.
So they got those videos leaked to them and then made the New York Times article in 2017 from this incident, which is known as like the Nimitz encounter, the Tic Tac video and stuff. If you've seen that, which is apparently these guys tracked
the shape of a Tic Tac,
a craft that was the shape of a Tic Tac, and one of them saw it. Made a visual confirmation and then went back. It interrupted their training, so they went back to the ship and then immediately sent out another flight with like tons of cameras all over it and everything. And they managed to catch it on their cameras. And it was exhibiting like the ability to move quickly and match speed and move laterally.
Which is something our airplanes can't do.
Well, what they were seeing was it was going from 80,000 feet, so space, down to 20,000 in like a second or two.
Yeah.
And then it would hang out there for like 3 hours in wind, just in one spot with no visible propulsion, no infrared plume. So like nothing coming off of it, no temperature, no flight surfaces like wings or anything. It would chill there for 3 hours and then shoot back up to 80,000. And it was there for weeks. They were tracking it and making videos and stuff. So anyway, this whole story was released. This all happened in 2004, but the story came out in 2017. So that's sort of the beginning of things. And then like a few months ago, we had a whistleblower come forward named David Grusch. And
David Grusch.
David Grusch with a G.
Grusch with a G, okay?
And he is an intelligence officer, a very highly cleared intelligence officer who worked on UAP task force for identifying unidentified aerial phenomena and transmedium craft. Anyway, he comes forward with a whistleblowing complaint. And what he said was, and he did an interview for News Nation with reporter Ross Coulthart. It's an Australian reporter.
Okay, Ross Coulthart. Australian news.
So yeah, they did this whole interview.
Not at all offensive. I love when you do that.
Yeah. They did this whole interview, and the main takeaway is he says in his work he's come across people who have told him firsthand that they worked on reverse engineering programs for spacecraft that have crashed.
Like Roswell shit.
Roswell.
Yeah.
So supposedly Roswell happened and they did recover a crash. They've actually been hiding this up
100%.
since 33.
Yeah.
Apparently Italy had a crash and Mussolini had access to this downed spaceship. And they ended up getting it at the end of the war from Italy. The Allies got hold of this. So apparently they have, in Grusch's words, quite a number of craft that they've collected over the years, and they've been reverse engineering them. The problem is there's no congressional oversight. They're never asked for funding. These black projects just sort of self-fund or misappropriate funds from other departments. So, and that's why Congress is getting involved in a heavy way right now.
And everything's classified.
Missing?
Money is missing. Money talks, right? So
yeah, they don't like when their money is missing.
Plus, they keep getting audited, the Pentagon and whatnot, and they keep failing.
Oh.
Like year after year after year.
Where do you go after the Pentagon? Who gets them? Who comes after you? What tax man comes after the Pentagon?
Or IRS? I don't know. The IRA.
Yeah, they're all together. Yeah.
You gotta watch out, line.
Yeah.
The IRA.
They're coming for your gold.
They're coming for your...
Fort Knox. So yeah, Roswell. It just was recently declassified though. Wasn't that the whole thing too? Roswell? Or like maybe 20 years ago? That's pretty recent. Because it was like this chainmail shit that they like didn't know how it worked and they were just saying, oh, it was a weather balloon?
Yeah, well, supposedly, I'm not
stories.
sure, like, again, a lot of what Grusch is saying, he's very careful with his wording because he's behind a lot of clearances and oaths and things that lock him down. He still maintains his clearances. So he can't talk about a lot of things. Like he gets asked a lot of questions by people and cannot answer. He's not allowed to. But it's very telling how he answers
Poorly.
sometimes. Yeah. Well, sometimes he's, they ask him questions. Have we recovered, alien bodies? It's like, I can't answer that. It's like, have you recovered biological material that's not human? It's like, yes, we have recovered that. He can say that.
You can say that?
Have you had meetings with ET? I can't discuss that in an open hearing. A lot of this is locked behind, like, Congress needs
You see him on a bike,
to hear
just like
this.
fucking pedaling his ass off. Go, ET, go!
Not that guy.
Extraterrestrial, I know.
Not the one.
Steven Spielberg.
Not the ET.
Not the ET. Oh, shit. That's crazy, man. So basically, what are we doing now?
Well, it was a crazy admission in 2017 that there's UFO in the air. Like it was discredited for so many years, right? You weren't allowed to say that there was anything up there.
I think it's so insane why the government was covering it for so long. Like, I know these like Christian, be good people are like at home and they're doing their thing and they're just like they want to pretend nothing's out there, but it's like vastly ignorant to think that the only living things in this whole galaxy that's been proven for hundreds of years that we have is just on this blue rock, right?
Yeah, it's pretty arrogant to think so. But again, we don't have all the knowledge. Like, it could be we could be a freak accident. There might not be that much
just
life
one
out there.
ET. There was just one
Could
ET.
be. Well, there could be cellular life everywhere, but maybe we don't get to this very often or something.
Maybe it never has the perfect Goldilocks of like crucible to bring life into the existence the way it is.
Yeah, until we find life somewhere else, we really don't know how specific it has to be for it to come up.
Guilty till proven innocent. Right.
And I think, like, haven't they found microbial life or evidence of on Mars or something? I haven't really been keeping up, but I think they have found some evidence that there was small scale, maybe cellular life on Mars. There was definitely water, liquid water. So
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, no, life, I mean, it's different though if it's here and visiting us and intelligent and,
I mean, like, I think, well, no, the Roswell thing got declassified. I watched like a little bit of this stuff. I'm not like too hip hop other than my Steven Spielberg knowledge of what ETs are.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you know lots about that.
the game, the worst Nintendo game in the world. But there was something about, I don't know if you obviously know a decent amount of Roswell, yes?
Oh yeah, I mean, I know the general story. They found a foil or something that they couldn't burn through it or cut it, and it would return to its shape if bent or folded.
But now, this is like more recently now is even way crazier, right? Like just the stuff that they're admitting to now, it's having biological material and stuff by far further than anything that they would ever talk about with Roswell. That's old news.
This is the craziest admission that I've ever seen. Well, the craziest time in ufology
now.
Just because they had a congressional hearing. Like, this guy said all of these things under oath. So if he's lying, there are penalties for him.
Jail time.
Yeah. Like, this is a waste of taxpayer money and whatnot. There's a possibility he's lying, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of benefit for him. So far, I haven't seen him make any plays for money or even try to be in the public eye very much. And apparently this is at great personal risk to him. He's reported to the Inspector General of the Intelligence Committee that he's been retaliated against and has feared for his life. And him and his wife have been retaliated against in disturbing ways. He can't really talk about specifics because there's an ongoing investigation right now.
Right.
And apparently Grusch has been meeting, and other people who have actually had firsthand experience with these craft, like Grusch has just seen pictures and had testimony from people. For 4 years, he's been figuring out if this is all a lie or not. But other people and him have been testifying behind closed doors to Congress for years now.
Yeah.
Like, this has been going on for quite some time, and none of us have really known about it. But he started to fear for his life, which is why he came public.
Yeah. Do you think that other people will now? Do you think he's...
Yes, in a big way.
Now it'll be safer for other whistleblowers to come and...
So pardon my ignorance. I'm very ignorant to a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. Well, no, not really. I get what you're saying, but I watch a lot of Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack. I think I've mentioned my love for that show before. Robert Stack, yeah, what a gentleman. There's been multiple episodes of like multiple places like actually fully like seeing UFOs, weird abductions, and like stuff that just like rings of light. Like I can't remember if it was Arkansas. It was some of one of those states over there, and
all over the world there have been things.
And it's like, how can that many people just get dissolved?
That's the problem. There's too many credible witnesses. If this was a court trial, if we were talking to lawyers and not scientists, this would be enough evidence.
Yeah.
But we need scientific evidence. It's a bit of a higher bar. We can't just take testimony and call it good.
You were talking about this earlier, and you were saying, what would it take Like,
How's
to
nobody
make
caught it on
people
tape?
like what would
They
it
have, I
make?
bet.
What would it take to
I
make
know.
people on a large scale actually fully believe that they found aliens? You could, like I was, you could slap somebody with an alien,
Yeah.
and they would just be like, "That was made of rubber." It's
Some
fake."
people won't believe.
yeah, some
A
people
lot
never.
of people, especially like devout Christian fundamentalists, will think that this is demons pretending to be aliens.
Right,
There's
tricking us.
absolutely.
Oh, it's all the devil's doing.
Well, yeah.
Right. There's a lot of ways you could explain
Or
things
God.
away, I guess.
Yeah. Because I heard that theory too about ancient Egypt, where angels came from, or was actually
Shared their knowledge with us.
aliens. Because
Yeah.
they saw something flying, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then just not to be a cliche, but aliens with jetpacks or something like that. They're flying. So their small brains at the time
Depictions
could
of their
only
science as godlike powers.
comprehend. It's like, okay, well, this thing's flying. What flies? Birds. Birds flies. Wings.
Well, there was
so that's why
something-
they drew people with wings as angels.
Well, there was
Not to get
something
too
about it-
religious, but
There was something about it that the guy said. Basically, there was a chance or something to do that the potential for fourth dimensional beings to be present in third dimensional space.
I mean, if we don't know
What?
what they are, we can't rule everything out, right? When we see something that is acting in a way that doesn't align to our physics, and we've had lots of high-level people and pilots say that these don't obey our laws of physics as we
shouldn't
know
work.
them, right? They can move too quickly. They
Through the
ignore
wind.
inertia. Any pilot inside would be liquefied because these things take 90-degree turns at speed.
There's no way a person
They
could
don't
live inside that.
Make slight angles. They just
yeah.
straight up at corners, and that would just
No
liquefy.
seemingly
you.
no
Human's head would
propulsion.
pop. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you would just die. You'd just be a yogurt on the wall inside as soon as it moves. Like,
So yeah, one of the thoughts, and with this Nimitz encounter, the Tic Tac,
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
also supposedly it was just a clear, perfect day, no whitecaps in the water, perfect visibility to fly in the F-18 Hornets that they were in, and they looked where the Tic Tac was. They looked at the water, and there was white water, like a patch of white water, and they believe that it's somehow connected to this thing because when the Tic Tac disappeared, it maneuvered to right in front of them and then disappeared off radar and reappeared a crazy distance away. It wouldn't need to have been traveling 1.2
So the
Mach or
Tic
something.
Tac.
I've personally talked to a pilot in real life who had nothing to gain and was not a bullshitter that I could tell, who told me, "Oh yeah, I've seen that thing on the radar that did something one night that we all just were like, what in the fuck? It went from here
Yeah.
to all the way over here,
Way too
basically
far.
just disappeared.
How frightening would
Impossible."
that be?
He's like, all of these instruments all running as fail-safes for each other, all screwing up at once. Coincidence? Probably fucking not.
And
Yeah.
these
He's
craft,
like, "That's something I've
supposedly,
never seen." He
they
said
go
he
into
fully
water and
believes.
exit at speed. They have no problem going one medium to another, one atmosphere density to
No
another,
worries.
or
No
But
impact.
what I was saying about the three-dimensional projection thing
Yeah.
was this boiling water and stuff. It's like the old Carl Sagan thing. I'm not sure if you've seen where he talks about like imagining a two-dimensional people, and if you were to,
I haven't.
stick your finger through their two-dimensional plane, they would just see the cross-section of your finger, right? They'd see the circle open up, and then the circle would stay there. That's your finger, right, going through. And then when you pulled your finger out, it would just close again. And they would just see this thing. Or maybe you can think of it a little easier as your finger casting a shadow on the two-dimensional world, right? And they would see this finger shape.
It could only be two.
But they have no
Oh.
idea what the
Two
shape of a
dimensions.
finger is. They just
It's
see
like
this shadow.
Super Mario 3D going into old school Mario.
Yeah. So the idea is there's a
flat.
possibility these things are 4 spatial dimensions, and they're casting a 3-dimensional shadow onto our world. So we're getting
That's
a 3-dimensional
fucking trippy.
shadow of what it actually is, and we have no idea of the real shape. That's why they can disappear and reappear, because they're pulling their finger off the page and putting it back
and
down.
then back down over
Oh.
here.
Yeah,
And
they're
then
going,
over here.
we
So
have
they're
X,
toying
Y, Z,
with us.
they're going W. And
Our
coming
physics
back
doesn't
in
matter.
somewhere else.
So we got X, Y, and they're going something.
Yeah.
Holy
They got-
shit.
they
They're
got-
just
have
going
the W
around all
plane.
the shit that would be in the way.
Have you seen that episode? This might be a little layman, but have you seen that episode of Simpsons? Do you guys watch Simpsons?
Mhm.
You know the Treehouse of Horror
yeah.
episode where
Yeah.
Homer goes into the 3D world?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
like
was a
behind
creepy
the
one.
boat. Yeah, it was hilarious, old school. Yeah, and he goes, and it's kind of like
It's like
that.
that. Only imagine one step further, right?
One step
And-
beyond.
yeah,
So he
we
goes
are
from
the
2D
3D.
to 3D,
Yeah.
and that was like.
So they can wrap
Crazy.
around things we can't even see around. Like,
So what would a fourth dimension be?
it'd be like that. It'd be like wrapping around to. It's like almost like, I don't know. You can't describe
It's
it with
incomprehensible,
words, but-
right?
Yeah, it's incomprehensible. The only way I can try to imagine it would be is like going around a corner, and where you should go to the beginning, you're still going around the corner more. Like weirdly, like inside that, and the only way out is to go back around it more outside.
You
of
can look
itself.
up mathematical representations of 4D objects like hypercubes and hyperspheres, but
Yeah.
they don't make sense because you can't draw it. It's like trying to spin a cube in 2 dimensions, right? You'd have like the weird shapes in 2 dimensions.
Flat.
It would change shape into all sorts of
look
shapes.
like diamond and weird polygons and stuff, because it would be like, what the fuck is that? Oh, it's a
figure
cube.
out what it is.
Moving.
So that if that's what they are, there's no hope. They apparently one of
there's
the
no hope.
encounters-
Yeah, they win if that's the case.
We would never be able to perceive it.
No,
we had there was Ryan Graves was a F-18 pilot for a decade. He started his own little reporting service because there was nowhere for commercial pilots or anyone to really talk about their UFOs. If they do this officially, they will lose their flight status.
Or is this you're going to say they were threatened, like a bunch of people were threatened or something?
Like by the Men in Black?
Well, like, it's just, in general, the UFO thing, you can't talk about it because you risk your career. So right off the bat, and that's what a lot of Congress members were worried about, because if there's things in our airspace, we don't know what they are, and they're threatening us, and there's a stigma around reporting them, it could be enemy surveillance, and now our pilots won't talk about it, they're scared of it, and now they're allowed to operate in the airspace because no one's reporting it.
Right.
And that's terrible. That can't be allowed,
people
right?
Be allowed to come and say what they see, really.
And we can't, we can't not listen to people from the intelligence community with like 2 highly credited pilots coming forward saying these things are real, and lots of other people corroborating it and not listen to them, because there's 2 possibilities. You know, 1, there's a bunch of crazy people in high levels of authority, which is terrifying, and they're all wrong and they've been misinformed. Or 2, there's something going on
and they're hiding. It
needs to be investigated.
Yeah.
So if they're letting themselves be looked at and scrutinized and say, look, come and find out if I'm crazy or not because I have something real to tell you, then it sounds like they really believe in that thing, and you got to be so off your like delusional in order to not
that's your life goal, is to fuck with society that hard. Like, you gotta be off your meds.
Who's gonna lay down their whole life for something they don't even believe in like that, right?
And so Ryan Graves, that guy that started that reporting progress, he got a report. I can't remember exactly where this was, but there was a massive, like, mile-long, mile-wide red cube floating in the sky, and like they were trying to do an exercise with Boeing and whatnot, and this thing was just there for a while. And
what, do they keep doing it? Or like, no?
Well, you cancel everything and whatnot, from what I understand. The ones that they're reporting mostly...
Just ignore it.
Well, some authorities...
We're all probably collectively nuts. That's what it is.
The one that they're seeing a lot since Nimitz and everywhere, like Ryan Graves comes out and his opening statement, he's like, as we convene here, UAP are in our airspace. It's like straight up. They are in our airspace right now. Most of them look like glass spheres with a grayish or black cube inside.
Sorry, one more time.
UAP.
So
Unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Okay.
Or aerial phenomena?
Not aerial anymore, because they're sea and space.
Oh, it's just everywhere.
So it's all encompassing.
They've evolved like Pokemon. Yes.
Unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Yeah, UAP if for plural or singular.
Cool.
Although a lot of people, I mean, it's a new term, right? Everyone's used to UFO.
UAP.
Oh, so UFO is done.
I think they're trying to destigmatize it, so they need a new word because there's too much history attached to UFO.
It's a slur. They get offended.
Yeah, you can't call them that no more. I can do mold and fly.
Dude, here's a cool one. I did write a couple quotes from it just because I liked them, but I sort of gave up halfway through. But Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says, his quote was, "The American public has a right to learn about technologies of unknown origins, non-human intelligence, and unexplained phenomena," which is just kind of a bonkers statement from
thank you, bro.
a high-level person.
I appreciate you having confidence in us. I don't think most politicians do.
Like,
probably for good reason.
I understand why 25 years ago and beyond, maybe deeper, that it was such a like higher ups trying to keep it a hush hush, because I think the average human being couldn't comprehend what it was and wouldn't understand, and it would cause some sort of, not anarchy, but some sort of hiccup in the flow of society.
The term thrown around a lot is ontological shock. The sort of shock that changes your worldview on a large scale.
Yes, and they couldn't handle it. So I think it was for the protection of the people. Yeah. And even if they're justifying it that way, I still think that like you got your white picket house.
It's not up to you to decide.
White picket fence.
You get your white picket house. You get a fence around your mailbox, and you get yourself a couple of thousand.
Your cheese sandwich and your kids with the little spiky hair. Yeah, you get the good life and your good book. You know, the good book. And I'll clap 3 times in front of that thing.
We'll start the podcast now.
Yeah, now.
We used to believe that.
So, but anyways, basically, like, I understand, and I think it's kind of admirable is the word. Is that the word? Mm-hmm. For them to do that, like being like, okay, we know that there's this crazy shit going on, but just so the sake of society can be like have what is normal, a normal existence. We're gonna keep it at that isn't. We're here by ourselves, people. Don't think about nothing else coming down and ruining your day like alien monsters. Just it doesn't.
What if
it's
it
not
was
real.
just like
Steven Spielberg, quick, make a movie.
What if it was just like you can't fumble this ball? Like you can't. Some president who is like sudden, like there's always been some concern, like some war, some new, some other threat or whatever that's too earthly for a president to worry about. Like, yeah, by the way, there's aliens. They haven't really come back for a couple of years or whatever, and they're doing their own thing. Like, you'll sound like a crazy person if you break this contract and start talking about it. In fact, you can't because of these rules and this reason. And maybe the aliens themselves. I think Brad was bringing up the point the other day, when we were talking.
Oh yeah, well, I had a fear that maybe they were covering it because I don't like the idea that they're covering it up to protect us. I think that's like arrogant. Incredibly arrogant.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like these people can't. These infantile human beings are so stupid.
Who the fuck are they?
But I was trying to give them credit and think of a reason why. I'm like, as it's implausible, but the thought that maybe once we all find out they're here, they wipe the planet or something. Like maybe there is some reason,
Doomsday.
some
There's
good
a gun
reason
to the
for them
head.
to not tell people.
Yeah,
there's a gun to the head of the people who would
keep
talk
this a
about it.
secret, or else I'm coming for you. Yeah.
Unless your race is ready, which we're probably not ready. There's also that came out that somebody was talking to, and they've talked to the Global Council, and basically the Global Council said we're not ready yet.
Yeah, we're not ready. We're not ready. Yeah.
So to just find out on a mass global scale about them, I always worry that it's like right away. I always think it's humans, and I think that the agenda is too simple. And it's maybe not this simple, but it's just maybe we stop fighting some wars amongst each other because there's nuclear threat that we would like to avoid. But we still need that military money coming from the taxpayers who are very quickly deciding that war is not that popular. They don't want their taxpayer money to go to guns, but we need that money. So we're going to say that there's a threat that we all can need to be ready for.
It's a possibility. Yep.
Right, just in case,
that's
right?
next level, yeah.
So like, really, that would be a great foe to either unite us all or at least to keep us paying our gun bills.
That level of lying is a very big story on its own, though. There's no way to spin this.
Either way,
it
it's
isn't
still
a
a big
huge
deal.
story.
Exactly.
So it's weird to see very little reporting on it. Like I read the New York Times article on it, and it was terrible. Terrible article. Like picked the worst possible crazy looking picture of Grusch that they could from like a low sideways angle. And then
crazy.
They put words.
This guy, you believe this guy?
One of the only guys, they quoted two quotes. One of them was Tim Burchett talking about how the devil's been in his way because he's a Southern Republican and all his metaphors are to do with God.
Yeah.
And the other quote was from the guy who said that, the closest star is 1 trillion light years away. So completely wrong. So I don't know. It was just rough to read. Like the mainstream media does have a responsibility to report on this. Was something mentioned at the hearing? Like they have a responsibility.
What could be a bigger story?
Well, if it's true, it is the biggest story in human history.
That's what I mean.
If we have proof of other life and they've ever interacted with this planet at all, even if we have any proof that non-human intelligence has existed in this universe, it's huge.
Nothing could be more important than finding out whether we're alone in the universe or what the universe is.
Yeah,
we're not alone in this universe anymore, possibly. That's a huge thing.
I never thought for once we were. Honestly, I never thought we were.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
no.
like it's one of those things where like I said at the beginning, I think it's just I hate saying ignorant, but like it's ignorant to
arrogant.
think arrogant is a good better word. Yeah, to think that we're the only things kicking it. Like, what the fuck are we? We're not that great. We're not anything. You think that's all that came through roof? Good.
We can't dismiss the possibility, but the idea that we are so special, that this is so special, is kind of funny considering how.
Honestly, that's horrifying. Yeah. We're the only ones. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That is.
That's depressing.
And to think of just how big the universe is and how big those universes may be on the other side of that universe, wherever that membrane ends, and maybe there's a space between. When you think about just how vast, or if when anything lets you stop to think about how very vast everything is, the idea that you yourself are alone, that's just the idea.
Yeah, I think we're like 400 light years away from the closest star in our galaxy, and our galaxy is one of trillions.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
So why would it be that we are the only Goldilocks zone to randomly occur ever?
Oh, it's just massive. Life? The numbers are too big, but it doesn't seem likely that we'd be the only life, but for them to come here.
Yeah. So for all intents and purposes, we may never see another one because of the distance, right? That is a real possibility that none will ever come in contact, so there might as well be none. But the idea that there's none anywhere.
Because light speed travels so fast and it might not actually hit us. So like that's why when we look at stars, we're looking at what it used to look like. Essentially, you know what I mean?
400 light years away is 400 years away. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're seeing that star, what it looked like 400 years ago.
Yeah, it's interesting when the Big Bang happened, you know, and all of the light from the Big Bang shot out in every direction. The universe expanded way faster than the speed of light, to the point where that light from the Big Bang is still hitting us, and that's what the TV static you see on your TV is, like that white and black fuzz is like picking up cosmic background radiation from the Big Bang. That's just hitting us now.
Still hitting.
The light is just getting to us from the Big Bang.
That's for show?
Yeah, it's real.
What? The static on TV?
Yep.
That's fucked.
At least on old antenna TV, yeah.
Holy
and like
shit.
the cosmic microwave background radiation that we're still picking up on, like that big map. I don't know if you've seen, it's like an oval that's green and yellow. It's like a heat map kind of.
Yeah.
That's that light's still hitting us from the Big Bang. Because we expanded so much faster than light speed.
I saw a TikTok that they just were able to get a picture of almost the beginning of time.
That's cool.
Like, so it's, and I'm not gonna try and explain this in depth.
They jump around lenses, like gravitational lenses usually.
Yeah, and it literally just looks like a thermal picture.
So you can imagine, say, light travels in a direction for a long time. We'll say like 1 unit. Okay. And then it catches, or so we'll say 5 units or something. 5 units this way, and then there's a black hole, and it gets lensed around, and that light comes, 5 more units this way. Rather than seeing it dead on, we can now see further back in time, because this light has traveled a longer path through space, and we can see further by looking through these gravity wells and catching other gravity wells. And there's a lot of weird stuff in space too. You'll see multiples of objects because of the way the light's been lensed.
Those are like physicists, right? Essentially doing all that shit.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, those guys deserve
astronomer.
That is peak human performance, doing that shit. Bending time to see into the past.
It's really what I wish we would put all our resources into.
Yeah.
All of that military money should be going there.
But then we would never have Oppenheimer the movie to see.
There's also the terrifying possibility that aliens aren't here, and we've developed this in like crazy tech that's amazing, and no one's telling anyone, and we could like solve all the emission crises of the world right now with tech that we have that's locked away, and like that's almost unforgivable as well. Like if these are ours, if that's our Tic Tac up there, like floating, that humans have made, that's like,
just
why do we still have planes where people die and shit? Like, this is fucked. If that's the level of tech we're at, it's so far beyond what we have now in 20, 30 years.
That we should also have a part of it.
Yeah, it's upsetting if that's what they're
using. Keeping it away from us.
If that's humans and that is also existing and confirmed, then...
I think we're like, I don't know, because like Bronze Age, Steel Age, whatever the fuck. So obviously the new developments every age it goes on and on and on, and we're at whatever age we're at right now. I don't even know what the technological age, I guess, is what it's called.
The AI age.
The AI age.
Somewhere in the Silver Age or the Kali Yuga.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we're just so beyond. I think to actually advance into the next level, which we could be on the cusp of with everything, like the next age, I think that it would be too damaging to all these people making so much money right now. If everything was at ease for the average consumer, it would fuck up so many people's money sources, and it would just bring everybody back to a level playing field.
Why there was part of this case?
So they're like, fuck it, keep it like this.
Part of this case had to do with the Department of Energy.
Right.
They were talking about that because supposedly these black projects have been hidden in the Department of Energy, and they've been hidden by nuclear technology protections. Which they actually don't need to disclose legally to Congress. No one needs oversight over those.
They can just do what they do behind the curtain. Don't look behind the curtain.
They don't have to really report to anyone legally. They found this legal loophole, that they can use to hide their projects. And now there are strongly worded laws saying that they have to put everything forward. There's a law right now. There's an amendment that if it goes through, it's an amendment to the 2024 military budget bill. And if it goes through, it's a long document that explicitly defines what a non-human intelligence is, what unidentified aerial phenomena are. It says any video of unidentified aerial phanomena has to be unclassified immediately unless you make a good case for why you must classify it. And everything that's 30 years older than its initial report date has to go through an unclassification process to tell the American people what it is.
So this might be the cracking open of a door.
Yes. This might be the blowing of a dam even. Right. Because Grusch, the other thing I found interesting, somebody's sweating right now. Because when AOC, Ocasio-Cortez, I forget her first name, she was at the hearing, when she she was talking to Grusch, and she said, "Can you give me names of companies that have these reverse engineered products? They have alien spacecraft. Can you give me names of people?" He's like, "Not here, but I can give it to you right after the hearing." Like he's like, "I can give you a list of cooperative and non-cooperative witnesses after the hearing." So like,
and she's like,
people who don't want to be interviewed and stuff. He's already handed it off.
They said that, which seems pretty ballsy to say. Just the fact, like, I can after I will, and I'll put it on record that I will do that.
I mean, he's no dummy either. He's got a degree in physics and stuff. He has a pretty good mind for seeing what's going on. You would think, you would hope, at the level of clearance he had. He has supposedly something called Title 50 clearance, which meant that he was able to be read into any program, all of them. Any program in the US, nothing was beyond his clearance to look into, but he was barred from seeing these crash retrieval programs, and that's when he started to file complaints. And ARROW, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office that was formed in the FBI after the 2017 videos came out, they're supposed to investigate these reports.
Yeah.
They only have Title 10 clearance, so first of all, they can't even access the things he had access to. So that's a huge problem. They need higher clearance, and two, they seem like they're part of the disinformation campaign because they're saying there's no proof of, well, they say extraterrestrial life, right? They're not using the non-human, so they may be hiding behind interdimensional life or some other,
that whole mumbo jumbo
phrase,
thing. Well, I actually said
under oath, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, even ARROW has 171 of what they call unclassified reports that were labeled as having like maneuverability and strange propulsions that we don't understand. It's a ridiculously high number.
Right.
Like, I think they had like 1,000 or less than 1,000 reports come in, and 171 of them weren't thrown away and were like, couldn't be called junk or trash in the air or anything, and they were just things that couldn't be explained.
Like, remember on our first episode, Brody, what was he talking about? 99.9% of everything is freeze-dried
bacteria.
It
was so crazy. His outlandish claim of that everything was just.
And he was like,
all matter in space was freeze-dried bacteria.
Yeah,
I was like,
99.9%
of like comets and stuff.
And you're like, no. Yeah. And you, yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's anyways. So basically, the Tic Tac thing, just so I can clarify. So that's just the actual craft.
Yep.
Is what they're.
It's the shape of a Tic Tac.
It's corroborated by multiple sensors, and
But think about this, right? So you can't just run outside and start yelling aliens are real, right? You're gonna look like a crazy person, and you know what? The next time when you try to report this, it's going to be bullshit again. They're going to say, oh, it's just this guy yelling about aliens again, and it's going to discredit it. So you really can't drop the ball on this. It's the same thing as when you're trying to, like, say, you're trying to lock up Charles Manson or something. You know he did all this terrible shit, but you really don't want to screw it up and, like, not charge him for all of it, right? You want to make sure you get this legally right on paper and make sure that this is all backed up with real documents. I'm in UFO communities, and they were upset at the hearing because there was no new things shown or like no like groundbreaking disclosure. And I'm like, we need these. All of these things are now on record, public record, congressional record, like under oath. If they're lying, it's a big deal now. Like that's what makes me
these
believe
things have been stated
in it more, because it's almost like we're used to seeing it look more like a movie because it should look in my head more like a movie. But it's like, no, this is boring legal shit, which makes me confident in it. It's like, oh,
David Grusch's whole interview with News Nation was entered into the public record for that. So if there are no objections, none. Excellent. Like,
for what?
Entered into the public record for that congressional hearing. You're allowed to attach documents and stuff to them, and it's public for the people forever, right? Because it's an open hearing.
I see, yeah.
So Grusch's hearing was attached, so people could reference it.
Cool.
In regards to this.
Tricky. Movies and everything.
But yeah, I mean, two pilots, one with 18 years, part of the Black Aces, David Fravor. Commander David Fravor was like the one that engaged with it and stuff, and was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Not human. Wish I could pilot it.
Wish I could try it out.
Really, but how freaky would that be? Like, so, like, I saw a video. I don't know if it's the same guy you're talking about or not. I don't know the name of the person, but he was like, they were doing some sort of. It was like late at night too. Some sort of training, military, in fighter pilot jets or something like that. And then they saw something that they couldn't do, and then they got granted permission to track it. And then, I don't know if I'm mixing up two stories or not. Does this sound familiar?
Yeah, it sounds familiar to a lot of stories. There's quite a few.
And then he disappeared or something, and then they just cut off contact, and then no more guy.
This is a very common.
We do have Grusch saying that apparently, like, our pilots have been lost before. Like, there have been actions,
these things?
where that have led to loss of life among like our population.
Yeah, like imagine it's just what they're radiating your machine can't handle, and as soon as it
Just
gets too
shuts
close,
off.
just fall out of the sky into the sea or into the ground.
Who knows
Boom.
what they got?
Yeah.
Well, there's
middle
plenty of
the ocean.
reports of people locking on and going to engage, and like right as they go to shoot, everything shuts off.
Holy
so
fuck.
It's likely that their ship can, and the other crazy thing about the Tic Tac and stuff is that it was sending out a jamming signal for their radar actively.
Oh, really?
Like it knew their defenses and how to jam them specifically. Like this is an intelligent thing that was actively, sending out signal to them and stuff.
Aware of what we're doing.
These are, at the end of it, it was actually very, very cool. They were asking a lot of yes/no questions, and it was like, could you have defended yourself if this had turned hostile? And just no
chance.
Not a chance.
Not even close.
Not a hope. Almost verbatim is what was said. Like, no. He's like, well, we have to do something about this then. And the guy that came on at the end, I forget what his title was. He was something to do with finance, some finance head. Oh, sorry, I just banged my mic. Forgot it was on me. But this finance guy came forward, and he was asking some questions about national security in a big way. And then he said, this definitely constitutes a national security threat. And he said, I'm willing to implement personally Holman's rule, which is apparently a rule that Congress members can use to just fire people or deny them funding entirely. And like these people have
Just
oversight
veto,
over
basically.
the CIA and like lots of major organizations where they just be like, no money for you unless you
Coleman's
tell
rule?
us. Holman. Holman.
Kind of like the mayonnaise, but
Hellman.
Yeah, Holman. I don't think it's
Basically, it means
ever.
you get no more funding and you're jobless and your whole work is gone.
Yeah,
what a piece of shit.
they're hitting them in the money because that's the only place it hurts, right? And these
Yeah.
people all have to go. Oh, this is his stipulation. He's going to do that to them if they don't allow them to meet in a skiff before the next hearing, which is a compartmentalized information thing where they like take your phone and put you in a secure room and show you classified documents that aren't available to the public. Secret, top secret, scientific compartmentalized,
and you can't film
information.
Nothing.
You have
So
nothing on
anything
you.
is just word. It's
And
not.
that wasn't allowed to them at this last hearing because they had to jump through a bunch of legal loopholes to get Grusch to testify. Because even though he knows all of this incredibly secure information, when he quit, he maintained security clearances but didn't have adequate clearances to talk before Congress or something as a private citizen. I don't know exactly how it works, but he had to be granted a temporary clearance
Talking
of some
license.
sort so he could do this, and that ate into their time and they weren't able to meet in the skiff beforehand and actually look at the pictures. But
okay.
Matt Gaetz, which a lot of Republicans in this issue, and it's very bipartisan, but it makes it hard because sometimes you don't like these people and they're kind of on your side for once. It's a little weird. But yeah,
You want him to be
Gaetz,
asking the asshole questions and getting to the bottom.
Gaetz
Totally.
was saying, well, Tim Burchett and Representative Luna, the two conservatives that are sort of spearheading this, they went to Eglin Air Force Base because they were told they had videos that they were going to be shown and be able to speak to pilots and whatnot. And they got to Eglin Air Force Base and they were denied all of everything. There were like
can't come in.
FBI guys there that were just like, no, like,
Is that
looked like
allowed?
they were sweating and they were just, no,
Evidently.
it's not.
No, yeah.
And they had brought Matt Gaetz with them, and apparently there was a heated argument that had to do with the direction that power flows and who's in charge of who. And then Matt Gaetz, singularly, only him, was allowed to watch a video up close, apparently, that he says convinced him 100% that this is not made by humans.
And everybody else had to just wait in the truck?
Yep, and
bullshit.
and he got to
So
speak.
mad.
I think he got to speak with one pilot.
Yeah.
And it was like a limited briefing in that, but he also said there's no reason that the public shouldn't have access to this video. There are ways that we don't need to show off our technical specifications and still show these videos. Like someone brought up the point, why is it that when a Russian plane shoots a flare off, we have this crystal clear image immediately, and then we shoot down 3 unidentified aerial phenomena and there's nothing. Not a single picture, anything can be shown to anyone, not even Congress. Like this is unacceptable.
Unreal. Yeah, no.
So that's where we're
wow.
at right now. It's pretty
Jeez.
weird, man, to see it.
Same reason you would dump Osama bin Laden's body off the side of a helicopter in the
Well,
middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah, he's not still alive somewhere, no.
and they can't talk about everything. I understand they can't declassify everything, but they can tell you what's going on. Like they couldn't tell anyone about the stealth helicopters that no one knew about, that were only rumored about when they did take down bin Laden.
Right.
That was a rumor.
There's
that was
a
a
piece
secret.
that's missing. Yeah.
How did this happen?
You can't have all the pieces of the puzzle or else you know too much and
And
somebody's
that's just
liable.
defense, right?
But they were asking, like, is this
Yeah.
China? Like, no, it's nobody. No one has this. Like, I'm not aware of any of our adversaries having this, and I'm pretty well informed. Like, these people are like heads of security, you know?
If it existed, they'd know about
They're
it.
the highest levels of oversight in the
Who
government.
can you trust if not? You know what I mean? Like, you have to go with your own eyeballs and see it. Like,
That
how
was
do you
mentioned
trust
by
anything?
Representative Garcia. He was heading it, and I can't remember his first name right now, but what did he say? He had a quote that I liked. He had two quotes that I liked, actually. He said, "Faith in our institutions is at an all-time low," which I just liked on its own.
Yeah.
That's very true.
He's like, that's why transparency is so important. And then he was talking about the stigma associated with pilots, especially military pilots, reporting UFO sightings because
Right.
they were scared to do it, and they don't report them because they don't want to be brought off the flight list and like told they're crazy or like lose their status or any of these
Or
things.
visited in the night.
So he said, this is not acceptable. If people can't report incidents which would have national security or safety implications, that would have serious consequences for us.
Would it not? Don't
Absolutely
you want
it
everybody
would.
telling you what they know?
And I think that's
Right,
why it's so
right.
bipartisan. Like, we can't just ignore these fucking people when they say that there's
Yeah.
things that are absolutely outmaneuvering them.
What if 3,000 people one night all report 3,000 different things?
It's
Secretly,
happened.
they all think they're by themselves reporting this that night, and 3,000 people suddenly report this. They should know about it.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be
that's
like,
literally
all those
happened,
people
though.
are hesitant,
Yeah.
you know?
Everyone should watch at least a quick, like a few clips from the hearing, because people have ripped the hearing apart and picked like the best little juiciest
course.
bits. And
Yeah.
just listen to them, because it's very crazy some of the things that are being said. It'll be interesting to watch it.
So like, what was that Snowden guy? He was a whistleblower, wasn't he?
He was illegal.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, but like,
He
can't
didn't do
you
it.
be like, if you say too much?
Yeah, but when there's a lot of visibility on it, it's a little different. Like what Grusch did was he went through an organization, some sort of OPSEC, government DOD organization, where he asked if he could go to a journalist and what he was allowed to talk about and say.
Yeah.
And the basis of this is if it's a national security risk to say something, he's not allowed to say it. So these are the things that he was cleared to say. Not true, not false, but he's allowed to say them.
Okay.
And then there's other things where it's like, hey, have we ever had any meetings with extraterrestrials? I can't talk about that. You know, and you're like, why?
Isn't that a yes?
Why are you not allowed to talk about this? Yeah, it is. You know, it is a yes.
It's as close as you can get to yes with plausible deniability.
Yeah, and
You're
I
gonna
mean,
break your contract because you said no comment.
Ross
Yeah.
Coulthard, I watched a video today, and apparently, Obama and Trump have both been read into this. I think Obama after his presidencies, because they keep debriefing you for life.
Right.
They sort of keep you in the loop of what's going on
Right.
as an ex-president forever. But yeah, apparently they've both been told about it. There's even a little interview with Trump where it's like, I forget who he is interviewing. It might be his son or something even, but he's asking him like, hey, what do you, I only want to know about the UFO thing. Are you gonna declassify it? He's like, I'll think about it. It's like a weird look on Trump, you know?
Well,
What do you mean I'll think about it? You don't stop. There's no thinking going on.
Yeah, that's a weird
What did you
response
say?
for you.
Sorry, what?
And Barack Obama's working on a documentary right now about the Betty and Barney Hill abductions. So, you know, and he said a lot of weird
that?
shit about it's
Benny and Barnabum?
Benny and Barney Hill. I think it's
Benny Hill?
It was an abduction story from the 50s, I think. I'd have to look into it, but the documentary will come out eventually, and it'll show all that stuff.
Abduction story.
But yeah,
Alien.
there's clips of Barack Obama saying a lot of stuff too, where he gets asked a lot of questions. He's like, he has very interesting answers.
It's
to them.
it's a
careful
dance.
answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of folks like to believe there might be some aliens out there.
He's like,
but,
with all the conspiracies you see today, how, you know, Roswell having a craft just sounds like such a believable thing, you know? It's such a, you know, like, why are you saying this? You're picking your words carefully, you know?
Master shit talking, like master of just fucking.
dancing around
look.
the edges. That's what a politician does, right?
Yeah.
Like, carefully chooses words, and so never really.
It's not a yes or
Committing.
no. You just get confused and you're just like, wait a second. And does that count as
He
my
didn't
question?
answer.
Yes,
he
it
said
does.
so much
Yeah.
shit without ever answering the damn question.
Yeah. Well, can I have another question? No, you may not. Yeah. What the hell? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. I wonder what he saw in his time right before the 20, because he was
Probably
done
the same
before.
thing.
Well, he was asked, he said, was there anything you asked to see and be briefed on that wasn't given to you? He had sort of a long pause. He said, well, there was nothing that I wasn't allowed to see, but sometimes it took a lot longer than I would have liked to get the information out of these departments. So it's quite possible that he only found out things after his presidency was over, and his ability to
Couldn't have done anything
enact
about
change was gone.
Couldn't have done anything about it by then.
Yeah,
They're like,
that's a
sure, we'll tell him,
possibility.
but eventually.
Yeah.
Not
Like,
yet.
we'll show you after. How
Yeah,
about that?
didn't break
Yeah.
any rules. I was just real slow about it. You know, so.
Exactly.
That's crazy, man. Like, But so presidents, they can. What is their clearance level? 100?
It's supposed to be that
99?
they get shown everything.
Supposedly,
right?
not all of them are read into the program. At least not during their term. But they are supposed to be. At least some sort of congressional oversight is supposed to happen with everything, right?
I think
Even
they
if
made
you
a
can't
different
know.
program for Trump.
Yeah.
A special one.
It's like
Just
your
for him.
controller's not plugged in. He's sitting there pretending to play.
Exactly.
It's,
Yeah.
it's a slippery slope, though.
Good job, yeah.
If we let someone yank a paper off Trump's desk, we allow that floodgate
No,
to
we
open for
can't.
people to
That's
yank
joking.
papers off the next guy's desk.
Yeah,
you know,
it's-
it's
I
scary.
believe it should be out. I don't think any person or organization should have the babysitting mind to say that other grown adults all across the world don't have the right or don't have the capacity or don't have it yet. They don't deserve it yet. They
Right.
wouldn't be able to handle it. It's like, who the fuck are you? You just put the knowledge out and let the apocalypse happen if it's going to. It's not
Yeah.
your hands. You aren't God.
I guess that's what I said to this is a good full circle moment. Like at the beginning, like I do agree 25, 30 years ago. I appreciate it. That sense. I mean, I think it is
That
a little
they're
ridiculous.
protecting us so we could have our nice
Well,
80s, 90s.
I just don't think they could have handled it 30 years ago. I think it's stupid. Maybe they could have. Who am I to say? But like, I just think it was just like
Even if it
ignorance is
were.
bliss, right?
I think,
ignorance
well,
is bliss.
what I've, and like, it's a bit tinfoil hatty, but
full
from
of
what
it.
I understand is over the past 80 years, they have been starting a slow campaign to tell the people, but they were doing it extremely slowly, so it didn't like break people's brains.
Yeah.
So we've had this slow
Wade in the
unveiling
water.
of knowledge, movies and stuff,
Yeah,
and
movies.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and all these things that have slowly acclimated ourselves to the idea, and then these scientific
Sci-fi.
studies and whatnot. And now, now half people you tell, like, they don't even care. They're like, oh yeah, sure, there's aliens. Of
How
course
does it
there are.
affect
They're here.
me?
Yeah.
Or you ask them, is the government hiding aliens? Like, probably most people will be like, yeah, of course they are. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care anymore. It's
so-
the time
and
to tell
that's,
them.
like, that's what I mean, like 30 years ago. But now
Doesn't
that
affect them.
it would be like one of those things that I think it would have made people's heads pop and freak out and panic attack. But now, I don't know. I think we're all just a society. Just everything's more chiller. Like
It's hard to impress anybody. Have you ever seen like a, try to impress a 15-year-old? They don't give a
they're just like,
fuck.
cool.
They've
yeah.
just seen everything cool there is to see. There's like a dude like juggling real lightsabers on a unicycle on a tightrope above two skyward. He's just looking at it going, yeah, cool. One
Yeah.
it's just, how do you impress anybody who grew up in this age of internet?
And if you look at it, I don't know if it's just me, but if you look at even when I was a kid growing up, and I was born in 1993, like close to you guys, and like how I was parented, and then I see people how they're parented. It's just everything is just so nonchalant and chill. I'm not saying that everybody's a deadbeat, but like everything is just like, and then how we talk to each other, however it's like back if you watch 50s movies, it's like, yes, Erickson, that was very good. I don't know why I went into Obama, but
Very
it was
uptight.
very.
That's your Obama? Erickson, get in here.
Yes,
And bring a
Erickson,
frozen
that was
pizza.
very good.
Not terrible.
Was it good? Yeah.
Goddamn it, Erickson, don't make me
Better
push
than I
that
could do.
goddamn
Yeah.
button.
But it's like if you watch like you know what I mean, 50s movies, everything's so proper and
Yeah.
and now it's just everything is chiller, everything's more acceptable, everything just it's a very vague way of saying, but like everything
We're
is just
boys with long
easier.
hair.
Yeah, boys with the long hair. Yeah, they were protesting back then, but even more so now. Just everything is just like I don't know. It's not so like unbelievable and stuff like that. That's what I meant. Like if it's just like you go to church, you have your white picket fence house, and now
At
it's just
that
all
time,
it's about.
people would have not thought about it. If you start talking about aliens and stuff, they'd be like, "Are you okay in the head there, Jack?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
like,
just-
send this
don't-
boy to a psych ward.
You should be worried about the lawn that's overgrowing in your front. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
they're more worried about worldly stuff, it's kind of outlandish to be silly. And other countries actually are a lot more like that, where it's like, man, are you crazy? Like, what are you talking about? Don't talk crazy.
Yeah.
Like, but over here, we're all like, woo, we read lots of books and
Yeah.
see sci-fi things all the time. Our heads in the fucking clouds all the time anyway.
And they
So
can
we're
just
like,
blame it on that.
we're
yeah.
hoping there's aliens. We're like, come
Also,
on,
we're
give it
West
to me, tell
Coasters,
me.
man. We do
That's what I was just about to say, yeah.
disassociative drugs.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And
having
that's
our
actually-
reality
yeah.
shift is not such a cognitive impairment to us because
No.
we've had that before and we've come back.
They're
It's
just
not a
high
problem.
all the time. Yeah. They're
Right.
open-minded, right? No, they're just drug addicts.
Right,
Yeah.
discredited.
It's I don't know. I do agree with you, Brad, on that. Like who's we're all humans and we're all, you know what I mean, same level
Some of us,
of consciousness, I would say. Yeah, hopefully.
Same
Who's
right
say?
to know our place in the universe, you know?
Yeah, like who's to
Like,
say
no
what I
one's
can
allowed
do?
to
You're not my
gatekeep
dad.
that.
Yeah. You're not my dad, Obama.
You don't know what's
Tell
good for me.
Tell me, man. Shit.
And I get it if they're trying to go about it the right way. You know, maybe it looks like right now there's a faction within the secrecy, probably the new guard, right? The young guys that are like us, that are starting to pick up this mantle of secrecy. They're like, no, why?
Why? You're saying no for the sake of saying no.
Look at our world that is on fire right now. We need to get the tech out. Like it's just fucked. We can't keep hiding this.
It's our only salvation. Maybe is this alien tech to get us our shit straight.
But then everybody would have power for free.
To get everybody aligned. Also, what if there is a threat?
Maybe they need time to get their next power structure in place for when like power is free and everything is free, and they need some way to still be in charge of everyone.
The biggest companies, exactly.
And that's okay. Fine, do your thing.
That's what I think it boils down to. Honestly, is like it's like how do we basically reestablish the baseline of society where we still have, you know, the capitalists and all those people making all this money, and then, you know, middle class, lower class, and there is structure, which is, I mean, everybody can't be rich. It wouldn't work. But for especially people in that position, countries. Why would I give that up? Why would I give what I have up? Maybe my grandfather will. I'll let my grandfather do it. Then he's like, well, why am I going to give that up? I'll let not my grandfather, my grandson.
It depends on what rich is to you, right? Like some countries are so rich, everybody's a millionaire to live there. Their taxes are like 50 grand, but like are crazy or whatever, but they also get to have all the best schools, the best medicine, the best parks, the best houses, the best exercise. They live longer. Is that not what richness is, right? But like some countries get that and they're more socialist. Is that closer? Or is it like every man for themselves? There have to be people sleeping in bags of shit on the ground in order for somebody to have like
that's the part
a fucking golden jet.
That 100%. I fully agree with that.
Money's not going to go away quickly, but we can make it so to be rich doesn't hinge on many other people starving.
Like the fact that one person can afford to literally feed all of Africa, but he doesn't.
It's
like it would even hurt his bank account.
A compressor. It's like a sound compressor for wealth, where you just bring the very rich down enough that the very poor get to come up, and we all chill a little closer to the middle. There can still be super rich middle.
There's always going to be ways too. If you want control of people, you can just start a cult, or hire someone to start a cult who's charming and lead from the shadows. Whatever you want to do for your power, you know, you don't need money for it. Money's just a way to codify power.
What is that? What is that group of people that don't believe in electricity and they all want the same car? Yeah. Or wait.
You had me till in the first half.
Like a wagon?
What is the class? Is it the class that, maybe I'm mixing up two things. So there's Amish, but then there's also the same people that think that everybody deserves everything. The same.
Communist.
That's communist, yes.
We talked about this, the commie Amish. Why did this came up before? Why do you always keep going back to these guys?
Did I? The commie Amish?
Yeah, that was a...
No.
What do you mean, no? It's recorded.
Oh.
You can go look at it.
Man, I've lived this life before. I blame it on somebody else.
Dude.
Yeah.
I don't believe
I brought up commie Amish twice. That's just a coincidence.
Yeah, the commune of Amish people.
They met with the aliens in the fort or during the Cold War or something, and they were straight up communists. They're like, oh yeah, no, we work, you know, to everyone as they need, from everyone as they can, and they're like, oh my god, they're red. The aliens are red. Can't tell anyone.
They're damn
you lost
commies.
Me, to be honest. I'm gonna have to watch that one back.
Yeah. But so like, I don't know. I get the appreciation and understanding that there needs to be some level of power to mix, just like there needs to be cops and there needs to be like just to keep society to a certain level.
I think a lot of people prefer that to be looked after, essentially, right?
Yeah,
I want to know that somebody's going to fix the potholes, because in countries where nobody's looking after that, shit goes to shit.
Yeah.
And I don't want that either. I'm comforted knowing that someone's going to pave that.
Everything at a decent balance, and obviously nothing's perfect, but at the same time, like I think I'll say it again.
That's government trust, man. That's transparency. We want to see people doing their job. We want to know what's going on, even if we can't know every detail. We want to see that the checks and balances are working and they're in place, so you can trust the people in charge.
I pretty much said it before.
Trust.
Yeah. All the conflict in the world usually comes from ignorance. All of the angry emotions in the world come from ignorance. If you're angry at your government, it's because you don't know what the fuck is going on. If you knew every step of why they spent your money that way, maybe you would be less angry, or maybe you'd be more angry. Yeah. But at least you'd know, and you'd know the reason why this or this is going on, right? People get so angry because they're just like, well, what the fuck is going on?
It's the same thing.
It's going to be hard to disentangle UFOs from like Bigfoot and ghosts and all the other woo magic that's stuck to it too, and like get a scientific thing out of it.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you, do you believe in ghosts?
I have seen a shadow one time that didn't reflect light of a person walking a dog, but that's the only thing I've seen.
What?
I also saw.
I didn't expect him to actually have an actual experience.
Yeah, I saw. Well, I was at a park once, and my headlight. We were sitting in the car, and the headlights were poking through trees, and I watched someone walk in and out of the headlight beams, and they were just a shadow. The whole body was a shadow. They had a leash tied to a dog, and it was all shadow. Like when they walked into the light, shadow, and then into the shadows, they were just gone. And every time they walked into the light, they were just black.
That's
so
terrifying.
that was a weird thing.
That's a weird thing.
So yes.
Yeah, I've seen that, but I don't know if I think ghosts are real. It could just be like a little echo through time or something weird, or who knows what it was.
Yeah. I never thought of that.
Maybe a shadow, higher dimensional shadow. No idea.
Maybe a 4D person.
Something trying to look like a human.
Yeah.
It could be anything. I don't know. Ghosts are. That's a tough one. Like
for me, it's more than likely mental most of the time. I think there's probably tons of reasons why we see, as a race, why we see different types of ghosts and stuff. Like maybe there's like an orb of light that's, ball lightning sometimes, or maybe it's just in your mind. Maybe, any number of things, from fatigue, from not sleeping enough. You suddenly see, how many times out of the corner of your eye you see something and it's just like, maybe like this painting is just a white color and you think you see somebody with a t-shirt. Your brain fully forms a person there in an instant and you're like, oh, I thought there was a guy there.
Freaky, yeah. And it's
so how many times is that happening?
Ectoplasm.
Right.
Yeah.
How many times is that happening? How many times is it real? How many times is somebody high? I think it's a big mix. I'm not ever ruling out the fact that there could be some thing. But what I don't think is that it's got a consciousness, that it's manipulating some like hologram that's like able to like
Casper.
pick stuff up and rattle chairs and do stuff. Although I don't know why cupboards slam shut, why do doors open in restaurants that are supposed to be haunted? Like, why is this shit? It's just too common.
Like,
it's like,
I've never personally seen anything in my life. I've watched so much bullshit TV, and yet again, at the end of the day, you can't even trust that what is on TV is even what it's saying it is. Like, that could be literally like editing just to make money.
You have to assume it's bullshit.
Yeah, like so there's like Ghost Adventures with Zach Baggins, and like it's been proven that like I think like Chris Angel, half his stunts are bullshit, half the ghost experiences are bullshit. But yet again, when you have 15 seasons of a show and you're making money, you're gonna, what are you just be like, well, we ran that well of ghosts dry, we can't, like, no, you're gonna keep going and make money, like that's what you're gonna do. But then there's been other things where it's just like people like just setting up recorders, seems legit, like one of those things like, what do they have to lose? They're just some honest working people like doing what they do, and it's like a different show, and it's like you just hear voices in like a silent room where voices shouldn't be picked up and stuff like that. And I'm like, but then yet again, I guess that could just be something from outside of our reality that we can't even understand.
Stuff. I again, it's just like the UFO thing before. I keep a surface interest in that stuff because it is interesting. And I mean, because I ran into Leslie Keene, who did all this journalism, this investigative stuff. She also has something. She was doing a bit on, and I think actually it was in her book about reincarnation.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who was like studying all these kids that remembered their past life, and in some cases remembered their name and how they died and what year they died and what year they were born. And
it's all
he would show them pairs of pictures that were like one of what they were talking about and one that was a control. And I remember there were a couple cases where the kid would pick, 6 out of 6 and no names, and go want to see his old family and go meet his old family. And
there's
know their
a legit
names
kid who took his mom to like Newfoundland or some like low population area. And he remembers, like, this was my house. I saw a story about that. Like, yet again.
Why would he choose a real place that's so specific and so far away?
Yeah, and he was like a 5-year-old kid. And it was bizarre. And there was another, Unsolved Mysteries. This was an old episode, but it was, there's like this little girl with her mom driving, and she's like, don't go off the bridge. Don't go off the bridge. It's the bad bridge. And then, like, the mom's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, no. And it was just like, this is where I died. The little girl in the backseat was saying, this is where I died. And she's like, we said water and drowning and crashed car, and then they looked into it and like a legit. They could say a name. So this girl could say a name, and it was like this girl crashed a car with that name into the water. And it's like, I mean,
unless the people telling us that story are completely making it up, there's no way.
Yeah.
Well, there's
how does that
coincidence?
There's coincidences that can happen. Parents can also accidentally reinforce this thing if they want to believe it, and their kids are giving answers. They might nod a little or something, not even notice they're doing it because they want this to be true.
Kids are susceptible to
very,
body
very
language.
hard.
Yeah.
There's too many variables to know that every story is the same.
The guy
reason.
she was working with was a child psychiatrist, so I think he was aware enough to not accidentally lead questions and whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
And what I found really interesting was he had some cases where like deformities would carry over to the next life. Because like these people can remember, like one kid was saying he got shot with a shotgun by his neighbor, and he was born with like a severely deformed left ear and unformed side of his face and stuff. Where he said it happened. And there's other cases where people have
so trippy.
Like they pulled a bunch of kids who had these stories of their past lives that had multiple birthmarks and correlated them with entry and exit wounds of the way that they died and stuff. It's very interesting. And one little girl was born with She said she like lost her hand in like a farm accident when she was a big guy or something like that, and like was born with nubs on all of just one hand.
That's so
very
fun.
interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some cultures accept this
Imagine being a little girl,
intrinsically, and they try to
remember.
guide people. Like they'll mark a birthmark that's the same as the person who died on the baby to try to like guide the
Weird.
spirit to it. And
Crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't that Hinduism or Indian?
I think I'm not sure if that
That's the
particular one was, but they are. That's where
Hindu-
people go to study because
Yeah.
it's much more accepted there, right?
Yeah. Hindu, yeah, I think it's Hinduism that's very into the reincarnation. Yeah, for sure. I fully buy it. I think it's, I don't know, it's also, yet again, can be just one of those reassuring things, right? It's nice to think, well, when it's all over, I'm going to come back again. And then, you know, it's very reassuring that
My working theory is that
Could be
your
a thing.
consciousness doesn't survive as you when you die, probably. Returns back to the big field of consciousness. That's my working
Can you
theory. at the
imagine if
moment,
maybe
but
Yeah.
Can you imagine if maybe a trauma
your experiences survive, but not you as who you are.
like the Wii
separate.
waiting room.
Can you imagine if if like a traumatic death would lock in part of your self like more heavily, and so that's why like the
Could
next
be.
person, because it's like it locks that part in time.
Because it was so traumatic, your brain
It's
keeps
so
it.
traumatic that's the way you died or whatever, that you almost lock that DMT tripping experience into the next experience that it goes in. You could carry it over, and that's why these couple instances would carry over.
My personal working metaphor for life at the moment is that brains are just sort of transceivers that send and receive signal, and the
Has to
consciousness
be.
field is something that each brain picks up, and the little differences in our brains is what pulls up a lot of our personality and whatnot.
So like hard drive is 1 terabyte, but the internal memory is 8 gigs. When you die, I don't know, 8 gigs is pulled out and the internal's left.
We're talking consciousness as a field is infinite and unbounded, and our brains distill a small part of it, like one
a
radio station on the
tower.
radio to get this signal, and that's you, and everyone's their own signal. And then when you die,
Tapping into
you
this,
go back into the radio waves that are everywhere, you know, and your experiences are still there, but
because they don't know where the thoughts are, right?
And I
These are
guess-
just antennas, I think.
And I guess if you were able
The
to
cloud.
maintain your
Right.
sense of self and somehow traverse this field, keeping yourself cohesive and
Yeah.
maybe incarnate into another body, maybe that's possible. I don't know.
That's just your radio
I
channel.
need another skin suit, please.
Yeah, I'm coming back.
I'm coming back. Yeah. I wasn't done yet. Yeah.
I need another flesh mech.
I got a bone to pick with Dick Clark. He was a nice guy.
Was he?
I don't know. Yeah, man, but that's crazy shit. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Have you had any ghost experiences?
Not really, no. I've worked myself up at one time with my friend who super believes in ghosts into
Yeah.
being afraid of ghosts on French Beach. We like flicked a lighter down the way we thought our friend was, and it flicked back at us in a pattern. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. You know, like back and
Yeah.
forth. I'm like, okay, Casey or whatever, is our friends over there. And we were like, well, we'll go back then. He's taking a different route or whatever. And he claims he had no idea, never saw anything like that. He went back a different way, was already back at the campsite when we went there. So we're like, who the fuck was out there in the middle
Just
of
a
the
beach
forest? So one or the other,
Yeah.
either is a ghost or more probably there's some fucking dude out there
With a bottle
which
of rum.
we
Yeah.
didn't know. And if you knew where we were, it's very just like remote. Like we're way in the thick of the bushes, and it's just like, who
I
the
think
fuck
I'd
would
rather
be out
have a
there?
ghost at that
That's
point.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm
than
like, I
some
don't care
fucking
what it
serial
was.
killer.
It's
Yeah.
super creepy.
Just
And
reminded
it
me of a
freaked
video
us
I
out.
saw where someone it was like a family and their dad was making owl calls to this other owl, and it turned out that it was just 2 dads making owl calls at
Oh
each
my
other.
god, that's so
And they're like, we feel like idiots.
Yeah.
You just
so
embrace in
funny.
the middle.
Are we doing this? Yeah, we're doing this.
We're doing this.
Yeah, we're doing this. That's crazy, man. Yeah. Any more with where you're going with this? What's the?
I'm excited to see where they're going with it.
Yeah.
It's just starting.
From what I
it seems like.
understand, it's there's going to be a lot more whistleblowers coming forward. I heard thrown around that Ryan Graves has about 30 pilots who have given testimony to him for his little thing, and David Grusch is one of many. From what I understand, people were like looking to see how he was treated and to see if he's going to make it out unscathed and everything.
Look like a crazy person
before they
or
come forward.
Did he fame?
Because he's seen pictures,
Test bait.
he's done interviews of things and video or whatever he's seen. He says he's seen evidence, provided documents and whatnot. But these people are people who have worked on the craft, like kick the tires of the UFOs, basically. The people these people are saying that they were working on it. And there are multiple of these people, and they've already testified before Congress, and this information has already been sent, and all their names to the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community and to members of Senate. So there's like it's out there.
Yeah.
A lot of
Even if
info
you kill
is
him
trading.
now, it's like
A lot of
Kinda
people
too
are
late.
reading a lot of documents right now.
Yeah.
And
A lot of spreading.
So that's the other thing I was thinking. So like, if they're, wouldn't it be more reassuring if the person all of a sudden disappears? That what they were saying.
It would reinforce the conspiracy at that point, yeah.
Like it would, but it would be like, okay, well, obviously, like,
That's why you go public, right? So that if you disappear, it's like people at least have that.
yeah,
But yeah, they're
At
trying
least
to
they
get
know you disappeared.
the new disclosure language. If it gets passed into law, it's modeled after the JFK files, how they released all the JFK files, and they did. They released, like, they went through a process of releasing most of the JFK files, but there's still a few that they won't release to the public, even though they're supposed to. And like, apparently every year the president signs this thing that says "Don't tell them again" this year. So, and like, that's also not working as it should, right?
no, that's so it's one of those things where like
But we'll try.
there's loopholes for us normies, but then when you're beyond like accept the terms and conditions, you can just say no. Essentially, like who gives the terms and conditions to the people making the terms and
This
conditions?
is why laws are being written now.
Yeah.
And like whistleblower protection acts and whatnot. And Grusch actually authored some of the legal work that led to whistleblower protections. It's almost like he set this up for himself. It's
Like, do they gotta go to
actually
witness
what happened.
Like if
but-
you were a Supreme Court judge or like any, if you're a law writer, a lawmaker, you're not an astrophysicist or a CIA member or anything like that wants to hide this shit. You're like probably like us and you want this handled properly and you want to know this truth.
Right.
So those people are, now that they know like, okay, you're being handed this case, like they're going to take it so seriously. Like this is one of the greatest legal instances in all of time.
Yeah,
You don't want to fuck this up and
who,
discredit it forever and no one ever believes in aliens again.
Yeah.
The lawyer who
Yeah.
represented Grusch for his secret congressional hearings or whatever and his complaints about reprisal, Charles McCoe, or I actually don't know, don't quote me on that, but he's the same lawyer who put forward the impeachment for Trump and like got Trump impeached. He's a very serious lawyer from like the Rose Compass group who represented him. This is like not a joke.
Yeah.
Thing
He's
for
like the
him.
top of his game. Yeah.
Grusch did this in the proper way. He did everything like you're supposed to through all the proper whistleblower channels, and only when he hit a wall did he decide to go public.
Right.
Because he
Right.
believes, he says he's
Got
motivated
threatened.
by his strong sense of duty, that he wants to uphold the Constitution and believes that the people deserve to know. That's his full motivation.
I mean, that's
Well,
admirable.
his family's been threatened, so what would stop you? What would, but he kept going, so obviously he believes this.
And honestly, I think to a certain degree, I think it would be more beneficial for you and more life-saving to then release more stuff at that point, because
Doesn't want to go to jail, though. I mean, you don't want to
well,
break the
yeah, but
contracts.
obviously within realms.
He
but
can
like,
only say what he can say.
Right.
you can only say, but like, like
He's like winking
when you
all
release-
the time and shit.
yeah, I didn't
Can't
say
talk
it,
about
yeah.
that.
Yeah, you did Morse code with your left eye. Yeah,
Tapping the whole time.
I don't think he wants to go live in Russia.
yeah.
They're
No,
making
it
me
also
say
great.
this.
But it's like I think to
It
a certain
also
point,
delegitimizes the actual investigation.
That's
right?
what we don't. That's I think the biggest fear, right?
is, yeah, no,
we have
fair
to do
enough.
this right. Like
Yeah.
sneaky, like completely clean, squeaky clean.
Yeah, don't fuck it up. or you're
Nobody
gonna-
can be discreditable. Like they have to all be perfect glowing records, or else someone's going to attack some part of them and
And
break.
I
this
guess,
down.
yeah,
Right.
if you just announce a bunch of shit and then they pop you off, they'd be like, "And that was a tinfoil hat guy. Don't listen to him, ladies
Right.
and gentlemen."
And now
yeah.
nobody ever believes it again. And
Yeah.
a whole other generation goes by
So
unaware.
there's a lot of weight on this guy's shoulder to step
That's
on
why
the
you
right
do it right.
tiles.
Honestly,
yeah.
man, it's weird to see Chuck Schumer weigh in on this because he is the Senate Majority Leader. He's like the most head of Congress sort of person, and for him to say like what he said is pretty crazy and put forward this knowledge or this law, this amendment that he wants to make to the NDAA that was written, with the White House, I'm sure,
Mhm.
because you don't pass laws without at least asking if they're okay
Yeah.
with the White House. And
yeah.
Ross Coulthard is super confident right now. He's like,
This is
he's
it.
basically saying, get on the right side of this.
Yeah.
You're gonna look real dumb soon.
Yeah, or it's gonna be bad for you.
Yeah.
Huh.
You're gonna look like
Bad
a
for
lying
everyone.
piece of shit. Yeah.
You're just, yeah, lying or dumb, just
Yeah.
The
ignorant.
truth comes out eventually. It just has to. It always does. It just takes a long time.
Yeah, it's just annoying that it's taking so long or whatever. I want it to be new now, like in our lifetime.
Well, Grusch says people.
we're gonna see crazy shit in our
They
lifetime.
asked him like, have people been murdered over this? And he said, I can't answer that. People who have knowledge of that have been sent to the proper authorities.
Huh. Wow.
And he said, have people been
Yes.
harmed? He's like, I've seen some very un-American things that I don't want to repeat right now.
Wow,
Mm.
un-American things.
That guy is the king. What is that? What is it called? Riffing. Kinda. Riffing when you're just like basically stalling for time because your comedy act's blowing and you're trying to wait till the next guy comes on.
It
And,
kind of sounds like that because he has so little he can say. You can see him like working through how can I say this? What
gears.
can I
He
say?
must
And a
stay
lot
up
of
at
his
night.
answers.
He wants to give as much as he can without getting in trouble, right?
A lot of answers were, I'm sorry, I can't tell you. Or
Yeah,
like,
that's
I can't
too
tell
close
you.
to the
I
mark.
can't tell you.
And like, but that totally like, correlates to like, because I watch a lot of true crime myself. That correlates to like why they can't release certain shit.
Ongoing investigation.
Ongoing investigation, exactly. Ongoing investigation, can't say about it. Which, to a certain degree, I mean, this is to a lower level, but it's like if you give too much and then the culprit figures out what you know, they
If
know
it
your
helps
hand,
them. Yeah.
then the culprit can then in turn use it against you and get away
You
with
don't
it.
want to hurt your case
Exactly.
by
Because
revealing too much,
Yeah,
right?
you said-
He has supposedly revealed where the craft are located to, like where they're hidden.
oh really?
Yeah.
He
So
says-
apparently that information is also with the Inspector General and
In
some
that?
members of Congress.
Because like, it's like if you
And
give away the
apparently
murder
some are
weapon.
too big to move. Like
Yeah.
logistically, they had to build buildings around them, so
Wow.
they can't be hidden, so to
Holy
speak. Which
fuck.
is why
Yeah.
they've. I think,
Anybody
got
else notice this
comfortable with
Walmart superstore in the middle of Arizona?
It's never open. It's never
It
opening.
was funny. People were going on Google Images and trying to find
Yeah.
like round buildings. I'm like, that's going to be in an Amazon warehouse.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to look like an Amazon warehouse fulfillment
Yeah.
center from the
Yeah.
outside. You know that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Apparently,
There's
it's
a lot
not
of
in
trucks going
America
in and
though.
out.
It's
Huh?
like in a different country. It's not in the States.
Yeah, that is what they would
One
say.
of the Five Eyes,
That's
which
a-
apparently
that's
we
fun.
all know about this. New Zealand, Canada, like Australia, we all know
What,
Yeah,
what,
we know that
what
they're
do we-
there.
that they have the craft. That
Oh.
they're doing the reverse engineering and stuff, and they
Well,
did just have a meeting at the beginning of this year where they had their very first UAP meeting in the States, and
That's
they were debriefed
crazy,
on
man.
some stuff.
They all had coffee and donuts. Yeah.
What it's like saying they're going to have a Sasquatch meeting. Like
I know.
it sounds wrong, you know, but it's like I would say 10 years ago that's like on the par of how it would sound.
Yeah,
you know,
totally,
but
yeah.
it's like obviously I don't think I've ever really fully believed in ghosts at all. Or
Yeah.
I mean, Sasquatch could be a thing, but like it's
So are big
something
monkeys.
earthly. It's nothing compared to the certainty I felt about extraterrestrials, and I've always hoped that in my lifetime I would get an answer about
Yeah.
that. You know, this is close to an answer as I've ever gotten.
As far as I'm concerned, it's next to proven. Like I have not seen anything
Yeah.
myself, and I need to see it. I need proof before I can say 100%. Before this actually like sinks in fully, I need to see something. But it really looks like it's true at this point. Like,
I
it really does.
100% believe, because like there can't be that many people that are like, fuck, my life sucks so much, I need a claim to fame before I die.
Oh, there
Okay,
can be.
alien. I mean,
They
like,
just don't go into high politics and into the Senate
and then the
into
sheriffs and the police and all was like,
astrophysicists
yeah,
and-
we saw it too. And stuff
What if
like
it's
that.
like, David Grusch, here's your $150 million package to continue the UFO lie, so we can continue making our crazy technology that we've been making ahead of human progress
right?
for 200 years.
That
Yeah.
would be an easy
Maybe,
conspiracy.
you know, it could be anything. He could be lying. It doesn't seem likely, but I don't know. I don't
Right.
know any of these people. All I know is what the screen tells me at the end of the day.
Right.
And that's not good enough.
As far as that's true. We're
all we
getting
have to
fed
go off.
this
Yeah.
in some sense, so it's nothing direct from the horse's mouth.
It's always
So to
we're
speak.
just
It's
we're,
corroborated, but
Yeah.
it's...
we're
Yeah, what
only
is the
ever just
corroboration
getting
to a
what they
certain
want
degree?
us to know, right? Like we're only ever just getting what they want us to know. That's what this whole thing is about. It's like
It goes back to
They
the
wanna-
Illuminati and the fucking, what is it, Rothschilds and shit. And it's like that. They're still performing the puppetry.
controlling
Yeah.
people, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And it's all just one big show so that they're not looking over this way. Yeah.
Well, if this is happening and private companies are hugely involved and whatnot, of course there's incredible power, right?
Yeah.
Like if you were Lockheed Martin and you had the UAPs, you're going to lobby the politician that doesn't want to look at your warehouse. You know,
Yeah.
that's the way it works.
Yeah.
And that,
Oh, we'll leave you alone. Those things you're doing down in Mexico or
right,
whatever.
Patterson Air
experiments.
Force Base,
Yeah.
you know?
Just give me money.
Just give me your vote, whatever.
Give me your vote. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Shady
fair.
biz.
I'm watching stock prices because, you know, politicians
See.
are prone to insider trading. So
Ah.
I've just been keeping an eye, looking at space companies and
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Just fucking.
Poor Elon's losing money big time.
Yeah.
He's
SpaceX
Plasma
is doing
chainmail
great.
just went up 100%. Yeah.
What is?
SpaceX is doing great.
SpaceX is, but not X.
Yeah. Not X. Yeah.
Do you see that? The Simpsons predicted X.
No.
There was
Really?
I was another one. You can see this episode where there's like a guy with a cell phone and he pops out and on the bottom. It's like phone messages like X, blah blah blah, and it's like the same logo. It's just like what the fuck? Just like they predicted the Threads logo.
I think Matt Groening,
on,
he is the head of.
Homer's ear looks
Rothschild.
exactly like the Threads
Could
icon. Also, if you look
Kind of,
super
yeah.
close, it's literally the same. If you,
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, if I was a
side by side.
designer making something for like a huge major
Wouldn't
evil
you?
company, I would start digging
Right.
into old Simpsons shit because I know about the conspiracy.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
would find something
It's almost
in
at
there
the
to
point
use.
now where I'm like, okay,
You
they
know?
did that shit on purpose because they saw that cell phone thing, or even subconsciously somebody was like, oh, X, perfect. Just
And it's like perfect marketing, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
perfect marketing. Just
conspiracy
I'm
about
going to
it.
base my logo off something from season 14, and then everybody's going to talk about it, and then boom, I just went viral on Facebook, and my company succeeds. Great.
And we're talking about it on our podcast.
I
so
keep
it
hearing
worked.
that in the UFO thing too, where people will come forward, you know, on 4chan or something, some 4chan leaker, and they'll say some stuff, and someone will dig up this old report from the 70s. It's like, oh, it's the same thing this guy was talking about. That corroborates it. I'm like, no, it doesn't. They could read that at any moment too, you know? Like, they could have based their whole story off it. I don't understand the lack of critical thinking.
Yeah.
It's because people really want something to be true, so the second they see like one sentence
Well, it's a religion. It is, because it's a crazy thing, like Bigfoot or something, right? So there are a lot of people who want to believe, and that's their whole thing.
Right.
They don't want nuts and bolts answers. They want their belief of what this is to be true.
They want confirmation
Yeah.
from others who just have the same experience or whatever.
They're happy with their fringe group. They don't want to see it disappear and become mainstream. Some
Even
of them.
if all
Not
they're
all,
doing-
of course, not even the majority, but
Even if they're just hunting, you know, even if believing in ghosts enriches your life to the point of where you never see one, but you're always believing and looking and stuff, maybe that's what the secret sauce is. You're supposed to
they're like Baconanism from one of those Kurt Vonnegut books. Can't remember. Cat's
Cannibalism?
Cradle or something.
What is it?
Or he's like, believe the lies that make you happy. That was
Right.
their main precept, I think.
Right, so it doesn't have to be real long as you're happy.
And honestly, yeah, like I mean, it's not the best way to think, but for a lot of people, ignorance is bliss. And if
For
they
everyone,
get to
it
their
is.
life and they get their Big Mac and they get their paycheck and they get their, you know, girlfriend at home, they get their
Sounds like a
pre-blow.
lot.
Yeah. They get
all.
the kids in the white picket house. You
Who
know?
are they? Fuck these guys.
I tell you, I'm going to stress a lot less
Consumerist
if they
pigs.
tell us there's aliens about our whole species being wiped out.
Who are these guys? Fuck these guys. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like, at least if we melt our planet, some life will go on somewhere.
I've already
be nice to
100%
know.
determined that there are aliens. It's real.
100%. That's
100%.
a lot. That's very certain, dude,
Yeah.
you know?
And Dick Cheney was one. and nobody knew it until
Did he
right
die?
now. I just released it. Yeah, Dick Cheney's an alien.
Did he die?
Dick Cheney, yes. Did Dick Cheney die?
Not that I've heard of, but I keep out of the loop. I just watch UFO
No,
stuff. you
Rush
know.
Limbaugh died. That's who I'm thinking of.
Ah.
Rush Limbaugh. Yeah, he died.
So he's still an alien then.
So yeah, he's still an alien.
Okay,
Oh
gotcha.
right, yeah, was
Roger
an
that.
alien. Right. Past, pre-chance.
I don't know. I just thought maybe
No,
he knew
yeah,
something
Dick
I
Cheney's
didn't.
an alien.
I hoped Grusch would pull a mask off halfway through,
Don't
but I was
draw,
also
yeah.
ready to hear a loud bang.
We
halfway
all
through,
across-
you know?
Oh,
We
fuck.
all across the whole Earth, just this
Fucking get
telepathic
Lincoln
message
lawyered.
from him.
Yeah.
It is I, Grush.
Yeah. Grushlar X.
Grushlar
Yeah.
X.
Grushlar X, the Annihilator.
I'll believe it's true when they can beam Never Gonna Give You Up into my head without me wanting it, and they rickroll the whole world.
I think Elon is more likely to do that than the aliens are.
Probably.
Yeah, that's like U2 just puts it on our iPod. Yeah.
If you've ever
YouTube puts it
downloaded,
right into your brain.
Yeah.
if you've
I
ever
want
downloaded
this.
Twitter before, your phone becomes like a emitter. Like you just
Yeah.
in your head, you just hear this fucking song.
Just got
Rickroll
fried.
everybody.
That's awesome. Okay,
great.
well, I think we've gone on pretty
That's
long.
pretty good, man.
That
Cool.
was a good one. That was fucking well versed and enlightening.
Well, this
Okay.
isn't probably. I don't think this is the last time we'll bring you back.
No,
man. So
hell no.
there'll be lots of other cool shit eventually, especially if more of this sort of thing comes out.
I
So
love this talk.
It's
I
nice
doubt I'll
that
have
you're
as many
looking into
notes.
it.
I watched a congressional hearing. I probably never will again. So
unless more stuff like this comes out, yeah, absolutely.
Was there anything that you missed on, or did you kind of hit them all?
no, I touched everything that I remember, but there was so much cool stuff. So many good questions asked throughout
Yeah.
the whole thing, and no one treated it as a joke. Not a
Which is
single
always
person.
cool.
That's respectable.
And we had some high-level politicians in there.
Yeah,
You know, Gates and AOC, and people were just treating it as
not like a
Face
tinfoil
value,
hat committee.
you know?
Yeah.
give me the facts.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice to know when they take it seriously like that. They're not just doing some like Hollywood song and dance thing. They're actually like, let's like tell us what, like give it to us straight here. Don't fuck around.
Give it to
It's
me
the
straight
future
down.
right now.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how we're gonna deal with these like very future problems.
Right.
If you've got stuff that can help humanity, then fuck you for holding it away from humanity. You've got to get this out.
No doubt. And
That's
temper your expectations, but I would expect the next year or two, maybe next 4 years, are going to be pretty interesting.
Well, I've said it before, as far as like, you know, our tech deck or whatever we do is our segment about technology that comes out.
Deck.
The
Yeah.
tech deck. And
That was one big tech deck.
we come in and just like you could never in the 80s have predicted what this like cellular internet like VR future would look like with what we have now. So there's no way that 10 years from now I could possibly tell what might come out. There
Right.
might be shit that's coming out. I mean, we got Google glasses and all kinds of stuff that
Unless
are
you're Dick Cheney.
on the edge. And well, I mean, maybe
Got
Dick
the
Cheney will
inside
share
loop.
some of his
He's got
alien
his
knowledge.
inside loop. Yeah.
Maybe he'll
Dick
share some of
proof.
his alien knowledge with us.
We just gotta get him on the podcast.
That's true. We got to watch out if he's holding a shotgun, though.
Gotta get
Episode
some
9, Alien
vodka
Dick.
down his throat. Yeah. Episode 98.
We'll work our way up.
Yeah. That's the next
Jan
thing.
Hitchens got to come back, then like Chris, then Brad, then Dick Cheney.
The Dick Cheney, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Shoot high, man. Is that
Right.
shooting high? That's pretty high.
What?
Dick Cheney?
Aim high, shoot low.
Shoot low. Awesome. Okay, well, that was a
All right,
fun
dude.
one.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks for having
Thanks
me.
for our guest. That was
Oh,
really
man,
dope.
yeah, we'll do it again.
Lots of fun.
100%.
Alrighty, 100%, totally. Peace.
Peace. Fuck yeah.
I didn't record.
Sticky on the bar.
It's sticky? Oh, it's because I cleaned it.